Thank you. May we remain standing for our national anthem. Thank you. You may take a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Samukelisiwe Octavia Twala. I'm the Senior Public Prosecutor from Matadeni Magistrate Court in the Northern KZN cluster. The province is KwaZulu-Natal under the great leadership of Advocate Elaine Harrison. And I will be your program director for today. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you, our esteemed guests, to this momentum occasion. We are honored to have amongst us the dignitaries that are on stage, whom I will acknowledge as follows. The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Ms. Mamoloko Kubai, welcome. The Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mr. Anders Nel, will welcome you. The National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate ND Motibi, welcome, Advocate. He is accompanied by the Acting Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Sibongile Mzinyati. I also wish to acknowledge and welcome the following esteemed guests who are with us today. That is the senior management of the National Prosecuting Authority, the senior management of the Department of Justice, as well as the skills and development team, the colleagues that are with us today, the chiefs, the aspirant prosecutors, and all other respected guests. I am trying very hard to stand before you and keep my composure. In fact, the little girl in me is saying, Minister. But now I have to stand before you and pretend like I've known them for months. Without further ado, I will now call upon the Acting Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate S. Mzinyati, to do the opening and welcoming in the ceremony. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me also acknowledge the presence of the Minister, Ms. Mamoloko Kubai, Deputy Minister, Mr. Anders Nel, the NDPP, and all other esteemed guests, you've all been recognized. It's both a privilege and an honor to stand before you today and to welcome our distinguished guests, including those who are joining us on NPA TV and other various media platforms. I extend my sincere appreciation to the NDPP for entrusting me with the responsibility of delivering this welcoming address on such a significant occasion. Today is not merely a ceremony, it's a celebration of perseverance, discipline, and purpose. On the 28th of August 1963, the late Dr. Martin Luther King stood before more than 250,000 people and made the immortal poem or speech, I Have a Dream. That speech transcended its moment in history. It became a declaration of hope, justice, and unwavering belief that dreams, when pursued with courage, do come to fruition. Today, we witness dreams realized. To the class of 2025, you may recall the day you sat for the entry exam into this program, and many of you may have wondered, did I pass this exam? Will I make it? Am I capable? And look at yourselves now. You made it. You persevered. You belong here. We have not arrived here by chance. You've earned this moment through hard work, intellectual rigor, and resilience. Today marks a milestone in your professional careers, a date that will be forever etched in your career. I formally welcome you to the family of the NPA, a family anchored in principle, guided by integrity, and grounded firmly in the Constitution of the Republic. You now assume a noble responsibility. The criminal justice system awaits you. The courts await you. The people of South Africa await you. In a time when institutions sometimes are questioned and the justice system is scrutinized, you must stand firm and declare through your conduct and say, not in the name of justice shall we falter. Not in the name of the NPA shall we compromise. Not in the name of the prosecution shall we waver. We shall serve with dignity and pride. We're here to uphold the rule of law. We're here to prosecute without fear, favor, and prejudice. Your future lies before you, but so does the future of the NPA. It rests on your integrity, your courage, and your commitment to ethical prosecution and service. As leadership, we carry the responsibility of guiding and supporting you. We must and we will create an environment in which you can thrive, grow, and uphold the highest standards of justice. Honorable Minister, we're deeply grateful for your presence here. We have observed with appreciation your commitment to restoring public confidence in the administration of justice, in strengthening our courts, addressing systemic challenges, and ensuring that the NPA remains robust, independent, and impartial. Be assured that we stand ready and committed to advancing the constitutional mandate entrusted upon us. To our graduates, today you transition from aspirant prosecutors to prosecutors. Carry this achievement with humility, wear your title with honor, execute your duties with courage. The oath that you will take is a lifelong covenant with the Constitution and the people of this country. You, the class of 2025, you are ready, you're capable, and you are trusted. Welcome to the NPA, and to each and every present, to each and everyone present here today, you're mostly welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Advocate Mzinyati. I hope that apart from the nerves, the aspirants, you have taken the time to listen and take in the wise words of Advocate Mzinyati into welcoming into the profession. You know that an opening and welcome was really good when even the program director starts to feel much welcome in the room. I will now move on to call upon the captain of the ship for the Aspirant program, Advocate Daphne Rangaka. You've done a good job. Take a bow.
Program Director, Honorable Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mayor Mameloko Kubai, Deputy Minister, Mr. Andres Mayer, the NDPP, the Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions, senior colleagues in NPA and also in the Department of Justice, good morning. But most importantly, good morning to the class of 2025 Aspirant Prosecutor Program. Today we gather to celebrate excellence, perseverance, and readiness. This is a proud and meaningful occasion for the National Prosecuting Authority. A celebration not only of hard work, discipline, and competence, but a reaffirmation of who we are as an institution. An institution grounded in the Constitution, committed to justice, and dedicated to fostering professional excellence in the public service. Graduates, you mark an important milestone in the evolution of the Aspirant Prosecutor Program. You are the first cohort to complete a redesigned, outcome-based training model aligned with SAQA requirements. This was not training based on attendance or time served. It was training based on outcomes, clear, measurable standards of competence. Thousands of hopeful applicants aspire each year to serve as a prosecutor. Of this, we selected to transform your ambition and aspiration into reality. This ceremony acknowledges your commitment to serve the people of South Africa, to pursue justice fearlessly, to protect victims of crime, and contribute to a nation where all live in safety and dignity. We live in a rapidly changing and complex world. Globalization, technological advancement, digital finance, transnational networks have transformed the landscape of crime. Cryptocurrency fraud, cybercrime, money laundering, terror financing, organized corruption, you name them. These are no longer abstract concepts, but they are realities in our courts. Criminals constantly refine their methods, exploiting innovation to prey on the vulnerables. It is to address these challenges that you have been equipped with knowledge and skills to respond effectively to evolving crimes and threats. Yet, while crime evolves, certain painful realities remain constant. Gender-based violence, and crimes against children continue to devastate families and communities across our country. The fight against gender-based violence is not theoretical. It is urgent. It is immediate. As a prosecutor, you stand in the front line of this battle. The redesigned Aspirant Prosecutor program in 2025 reflects these realities. The outcome-based model was introduced to address the organization's needs and develop the critical required within the security sector. This was made possible by a team of dedicated tutors and seasoned prosecutors whose combined expertise shaped a curriculum grounded in measurable outcomes, assessed through practical demonstration of knowledge and skills. To the tutors, trainers, whoever took part, thank you for your dedication and guidance. Let it not stop today. Let it continue. Your mentorship has shaped not only the technical skills of these graduates, but also their professional character. As managers and leaders within the NPA, we look forward with confidence to the continued growth and strengthening of this program under the leadership of Advocate Mutibi, whose commitment ensures that the foundation we celebrate today will grow stronger. This program goes beyond preparing prosecutors for district court appearances. It lays a foundation. It lays a foundation for critical thinking, ethical reasoning, victim-centered prosecutions, advanced litigation skills, constitutional application of criminal law and criminal procedure. Through the outcome-based model, you have demonstrated the ability to correctly determine and apply criminal procedure in line with constitutional mandate. Identify and present admissible evidence, draft precise and legally sound legal documents, conduct victim-centered prosecution, argue persuasively and fairly, uphold the highest standard of public service ethics. All these are not abstract competencies. They are building blocks of justice. You have not been declared competent simply for being present. You have been declared competent because you have proven readiness, ready to serve the people of South Africa as prosecutors, ready to prosecute without fear, favor, or prejudice. Today you receive certificates, but more importantly, you assume responsibility. Responsibility to the Constitution, responsibility to the victims, particularly those victims of gender-based violence and vulnerable communities. Responsibility to accused persons whose rights must always be protected. Responsibility to the communities that rely on the NPA for fairness and accountability. Yes, in your career, you will encounter pressure, complex decisions, and demanding dockets. At times, you may stand alone in difficult matters. In all this, remember, your duty is not to secure conviction at all costs. Your duty is to seek justice. Justice demands fairness. Justice demands objectivity. Justice demands courage. Justice demands integrity. Serve with courage and compassion. Conduct yourselves with professionalism and accountability. Exercise your discretion wisely and ethically. May the skills cultivated in this program grow daily. May your commitment, perseverance, and discipline never diminish. Let your passion for justice and compassion for the vulnerable guide your everyday decision. Madam Minister of Justice, Deputy Minister, National Director, and senior leadership of the NPA, I present to you these aspirant prosecutors with confidence. Their practical skills have been honed through rigorous assessment, their competencies carefully evaluated, and their ethical foundation measured against the core pillars of the NPA. They are ready to carry out the duties entrusted to prosecutors. Graduates, this is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of a long and meaningful career in the public service. Make it count. Develop yourselves continuously. Strengthen your cause. Elevate your communities. Build a stronger NPA. Contribute meaningfully to a greater South Africa. Remember, the strength of the rule of law does not depend on ceremonies or speeches that you'll hear today. It depends on daily decisions that you'll be making out there. Make them professionally, ethically, and courageously. Those decisions, they have to be made by prosecutors like you. Congratulations on this remarkable achievement. May you serve with integrity, humility, and courage. May your work strengthen justice in South Africa, case by case, day by day. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Advocate Rangaka. I think aspirants, you will agree that Advocate Rangaka has indicated, in fact, has shown to you the purpose for the 12 months of the training that you have been going through. Today, it's glitz and glamour. You're going to be beautiful, take photos, but the reality of why you are wearing that gown will start on the 2nd of March, which is Monday. Thank you, Advocate Rangaka. Minister, Advocate is quite correct when she says that it's been a reading program because, in fact, last year we were introduced to a new curriculum. And I think the OGs like Baba, Yusuf Baba, will tell you that from the previous years, it's been smooth riding. And we were all just relaxing. We take the intake, we teach them, they go to court, it's fine. Then they called us for this new curriculum. It felt like going through that merry-go-round. You know, it starts out nice and then it turns up. And then we all felt like, what do we do now? But through support from the team, the colleagues, we managed and we are here today. So thank you very much. We can also mislead and say that here's the breed that is the best that we've ever given the NPA. But obviously we know that with every good case, corroboration is very important, which brings us to my next item. We are calling the representative for the class of 2025 to tell us about their experience in the program.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Minister Cook, Deputy Minister Nell. National Director of Public Prosecution, Advocate Motibi, and then also Acting Deputy National Director of Public Prosecution, Advocate Mzimyati, all senior officials from the National Prosecuting Authority, as well as the Department of Justice, and then all fellow graduates. How blessed and fortunate we all should feel being here today. We all had different journeys and different reasons when we decided to apply for the Aspirant program of 2025. Some of us are still very young, others, such as myself, a bit further along in life. I started as clerk of the Children's Court in 2010 and knew after only a couple of months that my heart lies within the community and a purpose to serve. The entry exam was tough. Some people walked out of there 3 to 4 shades paler than when they entered, and there were a lot of mixed emotions. A few weeks later, we received the call for the interview, and then finally, the call to say that we have been chosen for the Aspirant program. I remember my phone was on loudspeaker, and my husband and I cried tears of joy and relief. Every single aspirant sitting here today had to make sacrifices during this past year, whether it was driving more than an hour one way or having to relocate to be able to attend the class. Then, not to mention our support systems at home, which went into complete overdrive. But these sacrifices were made willingly, without a second thought, knowing full well that it is incomparable to the future that awaits us. On the first day of the Aspirant program, we were asked to introduce ourselves and give a reason why we want to be a prosecutor. Quite a loaded question on the spot, but I remember I stood up and said that I want to be a prosecutor because I want to make a difference. Starting in the first week with Module 1 felt like, yes, this is definitely doable. Then came June. It was intense. The modules were heavy with information. The assessments required a tremendous amount of time, research, knowledge, and of course, energy drinks. There were days that we just went to class and looked at each other and said, Angazi. But by encouraging each other and supporting each other, and the excellent guidance and assistance from our tutors, we pulled through and we formed a camaraderie that is quite difficult to describe. In September of 2025, we were placed at our respective courts for the practical part of the program. I will I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. When I had to call my first matter, I quite honestly forgot basic English words. But it only got better. With experience comes confidence. And after speaking to so many of my fellow aspirant prosecutors from across the country, I know this to be a fact. It only gets better. During this past week, we had the opportunity to stay together for the course, and we were able to bond over our experience this past year, as well as encounters we had in court during this time. We became each other's cheerleaders and confidants. We are connected going forward and have learned so much from each other with an appreciation for our differences and an understanding of our diverse backgrounds. Being a prosecutor demands a high level of competence and integrity. It requires knowledge, professionalism, and composure in some of the most difficult circumstances. Being well prepared, even if it is necessary to work late or go to work early, is an essential part of this tremendously important role. To understand that we do not stand alone, that we are part of a much larger system, which includes the South African Police Service, Correctional Service, administrative staff from the Department of Justice, to name but a few. Applying the knowledge that we have gained during the theoretical part of this program, I believe has stirred in us a desire to want to know more, research more, study more, all in an effort to fulfill this very precious duty of being a prosecutor to the best of our abilities. Being part of this aspirant group made me truly understand what it meant to be part of the National Prosecuting Authority. Having a support system within a working environment that understood the challenges that are faced on a daily basis and giving proper guidance and advice when needed. Not forgetting our tutors and all NPA officials who were involved in this program, whom so willingly imparted their knowledge, time, effort, and guidance. Thank you. We will definitely live up to each of your expectations and exceed it. To every tutor, we will never be able to truly show our appreciation for what you have meant to us during this year and the impact that you have made on our futures. To our families, thank you for your unconditional love and support. Standing here today, I realize the tremendous task that we each must fulfill. If I were to be asked today, why do you want to be a prosecutor? My answer will remain the same as that very first day. I want to be a prosecutor because I want to make a difference. But today it carries conviction. It carries all my aspirations within the NPA. It has been an honor and a privilege having completed this program with each of you. May we strive to deliver justice in South Africa, in our communities, by prosecuting without fear, favor, and prejudice, so that people can live in freedom and security. Thank you.
Program Director, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Me Mamuloko Kubai, and the Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Advocate Nell, the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Mutibi, and the Acting Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions, being in the National Prosecution Service, Advocate Mzinyati, and Deputy National Directors from all other units, the Director of Public Prosecutions from all the divisions, and all the specialized units across the nation. All the directors and stakeholders, esteemed guests within our vicinities, colleagues and friends and families, including the head honcho, Advocate Rangaka, within this team's skills development program, and senior public prosecutors and chief public prosecutors from all corners of the Republic of South Africa. Good day, fellow graduates. From the very first day of the program, we were more than individuals assigned to different clusters. We became a collective unified by a common calling and shared responsibilities to serve the people of South Africa. We understand that building a safer South Africa requires appearances, and more than just courtroom appearances. It requires discipline. It requires strategy and moral courage. It also requires us to move in the same direction, guided by the Constitution and strengthened by one another, so that we can not lose sight of our mission and vision within the National Prosecuting Authority. We stand here knowing that we are the future of the National Prosecuting Authority. Among us are future directors of public prosecutions, our future chiefs, our future advocate Mzinyatis of the day. We are more than families. We are connected by the rule of law. Directors of public prosecutions and also state advocates. Growth within the NPA is more than possible. It is probable. For those who remain steadfast and committed, advancement will not come by coincidence, colleagues, but through the work we invest today. Over the course of our careers, we will encounter unfairness, setbacks, and moments where circumstances test our resilience. Yet we must lift our heads and remain principled and continue to fight for what is right. The criminal justice system depends on our integrity and our perseverance. Now, the road to this graduation was not comfortable, if we may all agree. We prosecuted in courtrooms where air conditionings will malfunction, where magistrates would not ask but instruct us to derobe due to the unbearable heat within our courtrooms. But because we were determined, we remained and maintained our composure and professionalism because justice does not pause for discomfort. We prepared and presented matters during power outages that halted proceedings mid-argument while you're fighting with legal aid. Boom, power out. We encountered broken recording machines that disrupted litigation and modules and made the submission of trial assessment extremely difficult, module 14. Some clusters operated with limited facilities and insufficient equipment, Toyando and others. Yet we shared the burden as colleagues across provinces. The burden felt in Western Cape, the same burden that was felt in Limpopo. When one cluster faced constraints, we all felt it because we are one cohort and one profession. Some of us faced personal challenges along the way. I stand here as one of them. As someone who is highly myopic, the journey demanded more than academic understanding. It demanded resilience. It meant reading dockets written in different handwritings, some neat, some rushed, and some felt like I was deciphering Egyptian hieroglyphs. But what needed to be done. It meant squinting at investigating officer's affidavit during bail in order to understand his reason for opposing or not opposing. But we did not falter because we determined, and with the understanding that the gallery is not to experience, the gallery, meaning the public, did not come to court to experience and witness our challenges. There were moments where the charge sheet felt like it was written and drafted in invisible ink, where the magistrate would throw the thing at you out of frustration. And moments where the courtroom lights were unforgiving, moments where preparation required twice the effort. Yet we did not falter because the public comes to court with the trust they have within the criminal justice system. They come seeking justice, and so, against all odds, we soldiered on, we prepared harder, we read slower when it was necessary, we asked for clarity where it was necessary, we ensured that no limitation, personal or professional, would compromise our duty to serve the public. Now, 4 days prior to this graduation, congratulations, we had the privilege of participating in a digital evidence training under the Justice College here in Pretoria. We are deeply grateful, seniors, as one of the first groups, in fact, the first aspirant batch which was afforded this opportunity. That experience was more than in technical instruction, it was a moment of national unity. We connected, we engaged ideas, and we debated. We also shared and brainstormed our way through the trainings and built professional relationships that will endure throughout our careers. We engaged with dedicated tutors and trainers and colleagues across South Africa, strengthening both our competencies and our camaraderie. That training symbolized the future of prosecution. Crime evolves, technology advances, and we must remain equipped to respond effectively. Being part of that pioneering group reminded us that the NPA is invested in forward thinking. It reminded us that the NPA is forward looking and is ready for the realities of modern litigation. Now, today, as we graduate, we moved from lecture halls to courtrooms. We moved from textbooks into real files, from hypothetical scenarios into real victims, real accused persons, real consequences. We do so not merely as individuals who completed a program, but as a generation shaped by adversity and strengthened by collaboration. To the leadership of the NPA, to every director of public prosecutor, chief public prosecutors, senior public prosecutors, mentors, tutors, trainers across the country, we extend our deepest gratitude. You entrusted us with a responsibility we felt ready, that we're not ready to take, but you entrusted us with that. You corrected us when we erred. You challenged us to think critically and to act ethically. You prepared us for the gravity of the courtroom. To the people of South Africa, we say this with humility and conviction. We are ready to serve. We understand that justice delayed frustrates communities and that public confidence must be earned daily. We commit ourselves to fairness, diligence, and unwavering integrity. We are not merely graduates. We are custodians of the public interest, and we are officers of the court. We are representatives of the Constitution. And today we rise for justice, for the Constitution of South Africa, for the public, and for Tikora Africa Dzonga. I stand before you, Nirinza Kensa. May God bless you. God bless Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those beautiful speeches. And I want to stand here after those beautiful presentations or the speech to ask in Zulu, Ukuti apamangam, when I said they are the best. In English translated, did I lie? So as you all will observe that my nerves have eased, and that is because I had a moment with myself there and I was sitting and thinking, it's because you are sitting in front of the directors, the minister. And I was like, oh, but I'm also a director. This program thing, we'll leave it for another day. It gives me an honor. In fact, I am honored to now present the father of the house for the NPA to give congratulatory remarks to our graduates today. I now call upon the stage the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Motib.
No, thank you very much, Program Director. I really appreciate this moment. Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Minister Kubai, Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Deputy Minister Andrew Snell. Thank you very much. From the busy schedule that you are really faced with, you deemed it appropriate to be here and come and welcome these graduates from the Aspirant Prosecutor Program. We really, really appreciate that. Members of the NPA Executive Committee, the directors of public prosecutions, and the senior management of the NPA, and indeed our dedicated trainers and tutors, distinguished guests that are here, families and loved ones, and of course, most importantly, the graduating aspirant prosecutors. I am proud to really congratulate you, and we look forward to really you leading the prosecutions in those courtrooms, presenting your cases or the state's case, and ensuring that you prosecute successfully. Conviction and see those appropriate sentences. I want to share with you that you're joining at the stage where, as an organization, as government, we are finalizing some of the plans. We at NPA, we are in a period where we just reviewed our strategy last week with the senior management. We are now really finalizing the planning, and you would have had a plan called Annual Performance Plan, and ultimately it leads to annual operational plans of the divisions, right? And all of those plans have got targets that we need to meet. So you're really joining at the time when we are really saying we need to execute to an extent that we meet public expectations. We met in this week with the directors of public prosecutions and some of the senior managers, and we reviewed the targets. And Minister, we got the message. We got the message. So amongst those targets, there's convictions, there's all of those targets related to your work. I'm bringing it home to you so that you really understand that you're part of this machinery now, right? You're really going to be part of this NPA to propel the prosecutions and ensure that we reach those targets. But of course, you're going to be working together with the investigating officers and so on. Now, as part of the planning, Minister and Deputy Minister, we took into account that there are those other priorities that government has prioritized, and we need to ensure that in our prioritization, we take those priorities into account. And we coined a plan called QWAP, QAP. And I was beginning to think that I'll soon be called QAP. So that quick wins action plan. So we are going to be looking at some of the priorities that we need to propel and quickly. As you know, that organized crime, and you have listened to the President State of the Nation, you're going to be listening to the Minister and the DM today. Organized crime is something that's besetting our communities. GBV, money laundering, and in your case, where you're really going to hit the ground in the district courts and so on, you're going to be faced with a whole number of crimes that you have to present and prove to the courts: assault, GBH, assault common, housebreaking, stock theft, and all of those. Those are some of the really crimes that are besetting our communities. So I'm saying all of this so that you really understand that you are an integral part. You are now an integral part of the National Prosecuting Authority. You have been equipped with the skills and the knowledge to present your cases. This is part of the value proposition of the NPA, people management, talent and skills development, and indeed talent retention, so that we sustain the capacity that we require. The program has been given this priority, and of course, Advocate Rangaka has indicated where it's been. I'm really glad, and you should be proud that this is the program that is aligned to the occupational specific dispensation requirement and also complies with the South African Qualifications Authority standards. I'm really, really pleased for that. The purpose has always been clear of this program to ensure that the law graduates entering the NPA are fully equipped and the knowledge, skills, discipline, and ethical grounding necessary to carry out the constitutional mandate of NPA. And as one of the graduates indicated here, that you prosecute without fear, favor, or prejudice. Always remember that. Equally important, the program is designed to open the doors for the NPA young law graduates across South Africa, ensuring transformation, inclusion, and continuity of excellence in prosecution services. Over the past 2 decades, really this program has served to produce graduates like yourself. As indicated, at some point it was revised to ensure that it keeps to terms with the developments. And as you have seen in your program, that we have really tried to ensure that we keep with the developments and ensure that the prosecution services also keeps to that. As it's indicated, the revised program prioritized standardized training across centers, dedicated and skills tutors, practical work-based assessments, exposure to specialized units such as SCCU, organized crime, AFU, and SOCA, and the development of prosecutors capable of addressing cybercrime, corruption, fraud, financial crimes, and all others. The 71 aspirant prosecutors were enrolled across 13 training centers nationally. So you each received same training material, you completed the same modules, and you were assessed against the same rigorous standards. You were required not only to know the law, but also apply it, and to draft the charge sheets. One of the graduates said here that the charge sheets at times is in a state where, the magistrate would throw it at you. We've seen these scenarios. We've been in your position, all of us. When you walk into court and you sit down there and wait for the court to start. And when that court orderly says, stand and you off, and then now it's starting, right? You know now that it starts. And then you stand up to read your charge sheet, to call the accused, then you hand it over to the bench, and he looks at it, and then the game starts. Throws at you and puts you, but really keep to your focus. You learned that prosecution, as indicated, is really about ensuring that we deliver justice to our communities. You have learned that to present your case really requires that you must know the law, know the elements of the crime that you have to prove, and in the process, and by the way, you are going to meet the accused representatives, and the accused representatives on the other side, they will really also try to defend the accused person as best as they can. But just know one thing, that you have studied the same law with them. You've studied criminal law, the same criminal law that they've studied. You've studied the law of evidence that I've studied. They don't understand the law. They haven't studied the different law than you did. Do your best, continue as best as you were trained, and ensure that you meet them, at their challenge. Some years back, in fact, really years back, you're going to meet the likes of a person called Sidney Kendridge. You can Google him. He was the Queen's Counsel. In our country, we talk about senior counsels, but you've got those Queen's Counsels that, used to practice in our country. Sidney Kendridge represented the Bigo family in the inquest. I see some of the heads are nodding, so you are aware of that. There used to be a saying that when Sidney Kendridge walks into a court, the law changes. Yeah? So that's the dynamism with which we expect you to handle your case, right? So I'm really, really pleased. And Minister, as I conclude, we dedicate that we will support these young prosecutors. We will ensure that you are mentored appropriately, even though you are expected to handle the case yourself, stand up in court and present, but we will not let go to ensure that you are successful. This is the mandate that you are going to contribute in the fight against crime. A fight and ensure the strong criminal justice system, ensure that our country becomes and is a capable state, and that the public feels safe, that the cases that they report are appropriately investigated, appropriately prosecuted. So at this stage, I would like to really once more say congratulations and welcome and all of the best. I will from time to time be visiting your courts, and if time permitting, I'll be sitting there and seeing how you execute that prosecution. All of the best. Thank you.
Thank you, NDPP. And thank you for bringing it home to the aspirants that much is expected from them. Now, in my culture, when a child is born, they are brought to the ancestral home for the tradition so that they are officially a part of the family. And I believe that by bringing you here to the VGM, and also you having been congratulated by the NDPP, to follow will be the minister and the deputy, you now truly feel like one of us. Now you know that VGM is not a car, it is in fact the head office. Colleagues, as we're standing here, we are, as NPA, we do not stand alone as an organization. A parent has a parent. We have our anchor, our pillar, our overseer, which is the Department of Justice. And that now brings me to my next item, where I'll be calling upon the Deputy Minister of Justice, Mr. Andrew Snell, to give congratulatory remarks. Thank you.
Program Director, thank you very much. Your surreptitious attempt to recruit us into the NPA is noted. Very, very good morning to all of you. And I recognize with great pleasure Minister Mameloko Kubai, and in this case, truly Advocate Andy Motibi, the National Director of Public Prosecutions, the senior leadership of the NPA, and most importantly, you, the graduates of the Aspirant Prosecutors Program. I would have thought that we would have done something after singing the national anthem. At one level, I am disappointed that we didn't do so, On the other hand, I'm very happy that we didn't do so because it gives me the opportunity to, together with you, do that. And so could I please ask that we all rise and recite the preamble to the Constitution of the Republic. We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past, honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land, respect those who have worked to build and develop our country, and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. We therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this Constitution as the supreme law of the Republic, so as to heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights. Lay the foundations for a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people and every citizen is equally protected by law. Improve the quality of life of all citizens and free the potential of each person, and build a united and democratic South Africa, able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations. May God protect our people. Nkosi sikelele Afrika. Murena buluka sichaba sahesu. Hotsi in South Africa. God bless South Africa. Mudzimu fatuchedza Africa. Hosi katikisa Africa. Thank you very much. I think it's very important that we recite the preamble of the Constitution wherever we meet as South Africans, and especially when we convene to attend to matters, important matters such as today's, that affect our country. Because in many ways that preamble is not just a legal document, or the preamble to a legal document. It is in many ways, it encapsulates who we are as a nation and outlines the nation that we strive to be and the kind of people that we strive to be. The Constitution to which that preamble introduces the provisions of the Constitution states in section 179 that there is a single national prosecuting authority in the Republic, and that the prosecuting authority exercises its functions without fear, favor, or prejudice. Now, flowing from that mandate contained in the Constitution, the NPA, as lawyers for the people, must do a couple of things, and I'm sure you know these things, because I'm sure they are or were in your curriculum, and they are on the website of the NPA. Firstly, you must deliver and serve justice without fear or favor. Secondly, you must promote a culture of public responsibility, accountability, and morality. Thirdly, you must ensure public confidence in the criminal justice system. Fourthly, you must contribute to growth of the South African economy. Something very, very important. Very often we make the mistake of looking at the economy as if it's an island out there, that it's something for economists, for business people, and so on. And we don't always appreciate the tremendous value that our justice system, both criminal and civil, have to play in addressing what is probably the single most important challenge facing our nation, and that is to ensure inclusive economic growth and the creation of jobs. And lastly, to contribute to social development. Now, I'm sure you are also familiar with the NPA's Code of Conduct, I hope. And I'm sure that if I were asked to ask any of you to stand up and say what that oath says, you would be able to do so. Or if I were to do what in my school days was known as a pop quiz, that you would be able to do so. But in any case, I think you've gone far enough. Today you're graduating, so we're not... But the NPA Code of Conduct says that prosecutors must be, firstly, individuals of integrity, whose conduct is objective, is honest, and sincere. Also that they must respect, protect, and uphold justice, human dignity, and fundamental rights as enshrined in the Constitution. It also says that you must protect the public interest, and that you must strive to be seen to be consistent, independent, and impartial. Also that you must conduct yourselves professionally, with courtesy, with respect to all, and in accordance with the law and the recognized standards and ethics of your profession. That you must strive to be well informed and keep abreast of relevant legal developments. And that at all times you must maintain the honor and dignity of your profession and dress and act in a manner befitting your status and upholding the decorum of the court. Now, you are charged with a very, very onerous responsibility, which is even more onerous in the very difficult times that we live. In the most recent State of the Nation address, President Cyril Ramaphosa made the very accurate yet very troubling statement that organized crime is now the most immediate threat to our democracy, our society, and our economic development. Let me repeat that. Organized crime is now the most immediate threat to our democracy, our society, and our economic development. And upon whose shoulders, together with the shoulders of others, does the responsibility fall to defend our Constitution and our Republic against that threat? At the funeral of the late Advocate Rodney de Kock, someone who I think we all still miss very deeply, I recalled that when I was growing up, my father used to read me bedtime stories, and he would read me Roman history as bedtime stories. And one of the stories that always stuck with me was the fact that when the Roman Republic found itself in times of difficulty, the Roman Senate would pass what was known as the Senatus Consultum Ultimum. Yes, I'm old enough to have studied Latin in studying law. And the Senatus Consultum Ultimum was something like a state of emergency. And it read in Latin, Consulis videant neque res publica detrimenti capiat. Or in a more accessible language, consuls see to it that the Republic befalls no harm. It was basically an instruction by the elected leadership of the Republic to the consuls to say, basically, do whatever you need to do to ensure that the Republic befalls no harm. I pay tribute to the many members of the prosecuting authority who continue to stand firm in defense of our Republic, its constitution, its laws, and its people against crime, corruption, and state capture, often at a very great cost to them, their careers, and their families. You, as the aspirant prosecutors, have taken the first steps to join their ranks. And in doing so, you've opened a new chapter in your lives and your professions. We are aware that these steps have not been easy. Many of you have had to overcome serious challenges to complete school, gain admission to university, and to complete your studies. Gaining entry into this aspirant prosecutors program through rigorous exams and interviews was also not easy, as we heard very direct testimony earlier today. Staying the course through another year of training to be a public prosecutor, a lawyer for the people, also required hard work, discipline, and dedication. The fact that you've come this far bears testimony to your character, your perseverance, and your commitment to serving our country and its people. As prosecutors, you're legal professionals, however, you are much more. You are our modern-day consuls, defenders of the Republic, guardians of justice and the rule of law, lawyers of the people. We're confident that you will live up to your oath of office, which states that I do hereby swear or solemnly affirm that I will uphold and protect the Constitution and the fundamental rights enshrined therein, and enforce the law of the Republic without fear, favor, or prejudice, and as the circumstances of any particular case may require, in accordance with the Constitution and the law. It is then my great pleasure and privilege to introduce someone who requires no introduction, Minister Mamuloko Kubai. Minister Kubai really exemplifies the qualities of leadership that our country needs in an ethical and capable developmental state. She is, and I think fittingly to say so in the context of this occasion, a young lion of our democracy, as she herself likes to point out. In 1994, she was not old enough to vote. After 1994, however, she has served in no less than 7 ministerial portfolios, ranging from energy, tourism, human settlements, science and technology, communications, human settlement, and now the very important portfolio of justice. She's someone whose wisdom, integrity, and leadership are widely respected as a colleague and as a comrade and as a source of inspiration in our shared journey towards building a better life for all. Please join me in welcoming Minister Kubai to the podium.
Thank you very much, DM. You may be seated. Let me acknowledge the Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mr. Andres Nel, the NDPP, Advocate Mutibi, the NDPP, Advocate Mzinyati, DPPs and senior leadership of NPA. Advocate Rangaka, thank you very much for the work that you do as National Coordinator of the Aspirant Prosecutor Program. I thought today, because we are in graduation mood and in celebratory mood, so I'm in a good mood, which is very rare in this portfolio. I must acknowledge my advisors as well, Dr. Marwala and Advocate January. 2025 class of aspirant prosecutors. I must not forget the program director, Advocate Twala. Thank you very much. I think let me first thank the DM for leading the reciting of the preamble of the Constitution. More importantly, because this year we celebrate 30 years of our Constitution. And the theme for this year is 30 years of the Constitution, one nation. Reflect, renew, and recommit. This is under the leadership of justice, mobilizing the whole of society and all sectors to recognize the importance of this fundamental document, which is a pillar and our roots of our democracy. I thought what you did, DM, is quite significant and quite important, and thank you very much for that. Let me start by sending a word of congratulations to all the graduates today. I would like to say well done to all of you. We are proud of your hard work and dedication to excellence and public service. Being a public servant is a vocation whose path can be both exciting and challenging. And if done with conscientiousness, it can also be very rewarding. As you sit here today with the decision you have taken to be part of this program, you are part of the building blocks of a greater vision of turning South Africa into an inclusive, capable, ethical, and developmental state. Having joined this program as aspirant prosecutors, you have started a journey of being defenders of people's rights and justice in one of the most critical institutions of our democracy. Fundamentally, the NPA, in addition of securing justice for the victims of crime, has a mandate to ensure that criminals get the punishment they deserve for the crimes they have committed. The famous philosopher John Rawls, in his book titled A Theory of Justice, says, I quote, "Justice is the first virtue of social institutions, as truth is of systems of thoughts. A theory, however elegant and economically, must be rejected or revised if it is untrue. Likewise, laws and institutions, no matter how efficient and well arranged, must be reformed or abolished if they are unjust." Unquote. It does not matter how well arranged NPA can be or is, and how efficient you think you are as prosecutors. What matters most is getting justice for the victims of crime. It is within this context the prosecution authority cannot compromise on its impartiality by prosecuting with fear or favor or prejudice. When it comes to deciding on which cases to prosecute or not, the NPA and its prosecutors must operate behind the veil of ignorance. In other words, race, class, age, gender, and political affiliation should never become a factor in the decision-making of a prosecutor. Only the facts of the case matters. Prosecutors must be consistently charged like cases alike, otherwise confidence will be eroded if the public believes that the NPA, crime is in the eyes of the beholder. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot allow ordinary citizens in our country who look to the state as their last line of defense to lose faith in the capacity of the state to secure justice. Otherwise, we risk exacerbating the community's tendency to take the law into its own hands, which will lead to anarchy and the disruption of our hard-won democracy. As young prosecutors who want to build a successful career as prosecutors, you should know that your success will be measured by how many convictions you have successfully achieved, not by how many cases you've brought before the courts. So it's not the enrollment, but the convictions that you gain that will be your measures. The more you convict criminals who deserve to be punished for their crimes, the more you will build trust not only in the NPA or within the NPA, but within our justice system as a whole. The NPA must undertake this task of rebuilding trust, cognizance of the fact that the NPA is part of a value chain of the justice system. To secure convictions, the NPA relies on the performance of a variety of state actors in contributing to such a successful prosecution. It starts with the police, as our aspirant representative was saying, being able to handle the complaint, investigate the crime, handling arrests, and providing evidence in court. The NPA in conducting prosecution, the fairness and the capacity of the prosecutor remains important. The magistrates and judges in managing the progress of cases and reaching to decisions, the Department of Correctional Services in ensuring persons in custody remain in custody and are available for transport to court and at the correct time. And again, Legal Aid South Africa in providing a reliable service that ensures the smooth and speedy conclusion of cases, not forgetting the court administrators and interpreters playing their role as well. All these interdependencies means that the NPA must build good collaborative relationships across the whole justice system value chain. The Governance and Public Safety and Justice Survey that I think many of you will have seen, published by Stats SA for the year 2024-25, estimates that the percentage of ordinary South Africans who believed that to improve their services, the main thing to be done was for prosecutors to work closely with SAPS. And this feedback, as a feedback that says how they view this relationship, was sitting at 28.3%. This means that a significant part of the population recognized that the working relationship between the NPA and the police was not at the level that is good for the delivery of justice to the victims of crime. This is the feedback from our people, from those we serve. And that's why it's important to pay attention to such surveys, because they give us feedback in terms of where we're sitting and what needs to improve. So the NPA must pay attention to the development of the necessary capacity and capabilities in order to fulfill its mandate. The capability review conducted again by the NPA identified skills gaps that must be addressed to strengthen your prosecutorial work amid shifting criminal threats. This is critical for you as you graduate today, because this report gives you the areas that are critical and that you are a part of your development, can become part of your developmental program. It identified that cybercrime, financial forensics, and project management as the specialized skills gaps that are needed to be urgently addressed. So if you are looking at areas of development for future development and growth for yourself, these are the areas that are critical, that can be addressed by yourself, or you can acquire those skills. So entering this profession means that you'll have to see how best to equip yourself, because cases of the future, as I always say, the NPA of the future will have to have capabilities in these areas I have reflected. Experts on cybercrime say that South Africa has become a target for cybercrime because criminals not only know that our law enforcement agencies are not equipped to detect and fight cybercrime, but they also know that we are very lax when it comes to securing our devices. It is estimated that 70% of South Africans have fallen victim to cybercrime and other risky behavior, compared to 50% globally. And 47% of South African smartphone users have experienced mobile cybercrime in the past 12 months. I'm one of the victims, by the way. compared to a 38% globally. In South Africa, cybercrime has an economic impact equal to 0.14% of the national GDP. About 5.8 billion a year is lost due to cybercrime. According to Interpol Africa Cyber Threat Assessment Report 2025, South Africa remains a top target, especially in finance and government. These attacks are particularly concerning because of their high financial impact, as I reflect how much we are losing per annum. Their potential to severely disrupt critical infrastructure and the damage they inflict on affected organizations and individuals. One of the most prominent was Lockbit, which claimed responsibility for an attack on the South African government employees' pension fund. Another was the Black Suit, which attacked South Africa's National Health Laboratory Services in June 2024. And just to elaborate the impact of these attacks, this incident in NHLS actually disrupted diagnosis for millions of medical tests, forced cancellations of critical surgeries, and compromised more than 1 terabyte of highly sensitive data in terms of diagnosis and the work that they have to do, because NHLS is responsible for pathology. So they do diagnostic report. We go to the doctors, they take our bloods, and then they do analysis. This is for all the public hospitals across the country. Now, when they were hit, it means all public health institutions were affected. The entirety of the country had to halt a bit to detect how that information was affected. And hence, in hospitals, they had to cancel surgeries, which were desperately and urgently needed because they didn't have the results. So I'm flagging this so that you can understand when such happens, what is the impact? And that's why our resolve to fighting cybercrime is important. Last year, I signed an agreement which UNODC has done on behalf of South Africa, and will be rectifying that instrument as part of our commitment to globally being partners of all organizations to fight cybercrime. And ladies and gentlemen, as our economy becomes more digitized, this type of cyber criminals will also multiply. And for us to build trust on our criminal justice system, we need to build the necessary capabilities and capacity to fight cybercrime. As aspiring aspirant prosecutors, and those of you who are joining, as you join today, our program, going to our courts, you are entering the profession at a time when the criminal justice system as well is going extraordinary public scrutiny. So it's an opportunity for you, but it's a challenging time for you because of where we are in this juncture. As I reflected on the cybercrime, but the public scrutiny on our institution. And this is as a result of many of you would have observed the judicial inquiry into criminality, political interference, and corruption in the criminal justice system, commission commonly known as the Madlanga Commission, and the ad hoc committee in Parliament that puts a spotlight on the justice system. Similarly, we look at the Khampempe Commission, which is specifically investigating whether there was political interference in the prosecution of apartheid criminal crimes, apartheid crimes. Now that reflects on the mandate of the NPA, but the integrity of the NPA. Again, the Nkabinde inquiry on fitness to hold office by Advocate Chow. That is, all of them are broadcasted, and they put a spotlight on the justice system, but again, into the NPA. So you're joining this within that system, where people are looking in a manner that all this investigation and commissions can either erode or renew trust in the criminal system. I think we all can agree that the level that has been exposed and the things that we are watching are concerning. The evidence that is being put in front to show the infiltration of organized crime syndicates into our into our justice system institutions has left many ordinary South Africans in shock, but more in fear. They look at those inquiries, they look at us, they start asking whether they can trust us. Undeniably, organized crime has emerged as one of the most corroding phenomenon for the criminal justice system in the recent past. Organized crime includes a variety of economic crimes, including theft and vandalism of infrastructure, extortion in the construction sector, illegal mining, gang violence, cash in transit theft, and cybercrime. Prosecuting such crimes has proven to be lengthy and complex, as it involves many players, including some compromised individuals within the criminal justice system, who become obstructive and also lead to the sabotage of our cases. It is for this reason that we have to intensify the effort to recover the monies and properties that have been attained through criminal or illegal means, utilizing the asset forfeiture unit as a tool to fight. As I always say, we can't have criminals using the money they stole from the state or gotten it wrongly, using that money to fight the state. Must take it back, must freeze those assets and be able to fight. And I say this because we've got to understand, as you join NPA, you are men and women who must put your boots on, because we are at war against against crime and corruption. You are foot soldiers that must help us to rebuild the confidence. You are foot soldiers who must help us to win this war. We have no choice but to win. And we must make it clear to criminals that we are here as a new cohort to do whatever it takes to put them behind bars in protection of South Africa and her people. Because when you take oath of office like I have done, our loyalty is to the flag and nothing else. Ladies and gentlemen, as I talked about the strategy, we've got to, as NPA, look at the trajectory of our journey. That we must be able to turn the tide. We must be able to rebrand and build confidence in South Africans that we shall be justice. With regards to gender-based violence and femicide, the average conviction rate in the past 5 years, Advocate Mutibi, has been 73% in NPA. This means that there are 27% potential offenders who have gotten off without being punished for their crimes and potentially could have even committed more sexual offenses. This is way too much. These statistics exclude cases that have been withdrawn and those that prosecutors declined to prosecute. And I sit here and ask myself, if I include those statistics, how does the picture look? As you said, you've received my feedback on your targets. I have made a commitment to South Africans that we will help to fight gender-based violence. And I need you as men and women in NPA to prove to South Africans that they can trust us to to fight this pandemic, to rebuild the confidence in that, saying that women and children in our country can be safe. In South African law, where a prima facie case exists, prosecutors have a duty to prosecute unless a compelling reason exists to decline to prosecute. We might not be able to restore the lives of victims of femicide. We might not be able to repair the psychological damage inflicted on the victim of rape, but we have a duty to ensure that these victims get justice. So when you get an opportunity to assess a gender-based violence and femicide case, bear in mind that there is a life that was lost. Bear in mind that there's a victim living with irreparable psychological and physical damage. The least you can do for them is to demonstrate to them that the law is on their side. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt that for the NPA to be able to successfully prosecute these complex cases, they need prosecutors who are capable with the right skills. Furthermore, prosecutors in the modern world need to be people who believe in a lifelong learning, who are adaptive and capable understanding the evolving nature of the social environment in which injustices are perpetrated. I have no doubt in my mind that in this room today, we have young men and women who will act in accordance with the law and the requirements of a fair trial, consider the views, legitimate interests, and possible concerns of victims and witnesses, and have the capability and capacity to build a stronger NPA of the future. As aspirant prosecutors, as class of 2025, as one of those who believe in lifelong learning, I know the journey will not be easy. Become a support system for each other so that the journey does not become lonely. Ensure that you give each other feedback, positive and constructive criticism. When one has done well, congratulate them as a way of encouraging them to continue to do well. But when one of us has messed up, give objective feedback so that they don't make the same mistake tomorrow, but help them to learn from the mistake and improve on their work. As I conclude, let me quote one of my favorite quotes by Nkwame Nkrumah. I quote, "Those who would judge us merely by the heights we have achieved would do well to remember the depth from which we started," unquote. Once more, congratulations and welcome to the family of justice.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you so much. I do want to echo the words of Mr. Nell, MP, having said that you are in fact are exemplary in women leadership. And as a young woman myself, I do want to assure you that we idolize you, we are proud of you, and you must keep up the good work. I also want to thank Mr. Nell for opening the opportunity for us to renew and reaffirm our commitment to the Constitution as well. And we do deeply apologize for omitting that at the beginning. We also want to assure you, Minister, that the Aspirant program does recognize the development of the criminal activity, and that we must not be found wanting in terms of the fight against that development of criminal activity. So in doing so, the Cybercrimes Act, the PRECA Act, the PRECA also forms part of very important modules in the program. So we are ready and waiting. I'm sitting there looking at the group of my aspirants, and I'm trying to make sure that they are prim and proper and behaving. But I can see that they're not looking at me. They're actually worried about whether they're going to make it on stage without falling. So just to ease that suspension, we are now going to move on to the next item, which is the conferral of the certificates. I would kindly wish to invite the dignitaries to stand on stage. And to also just remind the aspirants who are going to be called up on stage to receive their certificates, not to forget to shake the hands of the dignitaries and get the blessings. Okay, we are now. The minister was just telling me not to remind you, don't forget to smile. To begin, we are going to be firstly starting with the class from Toyando Training Center, and I'll be calling upon their trainer, Ms. Dinah Malati.
Thank you, Program Director. For this part of the program, please do allow me to say all protocol observed from the Minister all the way to our beautiful graduates. I see my class has already joined me.
Thank you, Minister. The Minister has requested, I can send Minister for this photograph. The aspirants, can you please remove your tags so that you will look Instagram fit for the photograph.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Toyando class of 2025, starting with Mr. Mduduzi Mutele. Ms. Tembo Hope Rambau.
Okay. Well done.
And Ms. Adebao Sivara.
Congratulations, well done.
Now we'll welcome on stage the Pulokwani cluster with their trainer, Mr. Ernest Manenzi.
I now present the Polokwane Training Center, Silo Lamula. Pretty Patience Mukalapa. Nuku Ivan Muhetle. I will now call on stage my sister from Mudimule cluster. Reneilwe Mashamaite.
Thank you. For Mudimola cluster, I'm calling Fushalelo Broni Baloi. Kamuhelo Marvin Mukahane. Ntsako Fred Muganzi. I now call my colleague, Mr. Jimmy Poto, for Malahleni Training Center.
Thank you very much. I now call Nomfundo Mkhazo. Chris Mukumi Mnisi. Lefa Mtsweni. Surprise Selue. I'm calling my wonderful friend, Val Training Center, Mr. Kevin Padayachi, to come with his team.
Thank you. First is Ms. Tanya Brits. Chwene Manamela. Milanzu Michael Miambo. Evidence Busheng Modishani. Manditwale Ndamase. Siamo Innocent Palazzi. And I call my colleague and friend from the Johannesburg cluster, Nadine Nell.
Thank you for the opportunity. I would like to call the first candidate of Johannesburg, the next candidate, Mr. Dongani Alfred Mashangu. Ms. Ponce Majingani. Ms. Lise Mushuri. And last but not least, Mr. Edward Kapaza. I'm calling or inviting the next cluster in the South Gauteng division, the Eastern cluster, with the training Mr. Yusuf Baba.
Good morning, protocol observed. I'd like to introduce my first candidate, Ms. NDPP Asaria. Madam Minister, the candidate standing next to you achieved a full cum laude, full honors in Arabic. Next candidate is Mr. Hamza Khan. Next candidate is Mr. Hunt. And last but not least, Pindilo Maluti. Thank you very much. I call my next colleague from Plato, trainer, Ms. Natalie Amer.
I'm calling on Kamukelo Kumalo. Kanisile Bontumelo Mutoba. Ompemetse Audrey Maloka. Valoria Makele. Nofiwa Blessing Machaba. And Lupita Cabezo Machado. I now invite the class of welcome led by Ms. Anna Lucas. Today, I call upon the welcome pastor, Mabuja Majate. Purple Buloy. Lady Tato Siguel Buloy. Kumuto Sepiso Mkato. Neo Siasudi. And last but not least, Malta Honoro Innocentia Futa.
Bloemfontein cluster, I call the younger Rabusa. Katlego Thabile Makgethi. Thabiso Prince Mokoena. Itumele Kelvin Pukunzi. Lastly, Ndiko Khamisa Tunzi. Next, I would like to welcome from the Kimberley cluster my friend, Mr. Q Timothy.
Just before he comes and invites you to the stage, I know I'm hearing the front row here constantly say, smile, smile. There was a story about past apartheid Prime Minister of South Africa. You might have heard of him, John Foster. He's a very dour-looking man. So one day a journalist went to interview him together with a photographer, and after the interview, we were taking photos, and the photographer said, Mr. Foster, please smile. But I am smiling.
It's an honor to call the following aspirants from the Northern Cape, Kimberley cluster. Okuhle Kodwa Jidel. Nomfundo Masango. Masilo Muhale Mushabela. Odwa Wolifan. And last but not least, Bonte Kutiaka. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Kimberley group. It's an honor then to call the Madadeli group under Mem Osensi Kuala to come and hand over the certificates.
Put this on the podium. Put it on the podium, don't switch it off.
Center. I will now call upon the first graduate from my cluster, Andile Biela. Vuyani Helman Mabaso. Vuyani Helman Mabaso. Mr. Nkosikona Matondo. Siqiniseko Amahle Masikane. Nomalungelo Precious Mayaba. It's KZN Academic Excellence all the way. Xola Nontamo. Last but not least, Abonga Nzeleni. It then gives me great pleasure to hand over to the trainer for the Mthatha Training Center, Ms. Matsibiso Mugwele.
Thank you, colleague. Now I'm calling upon Asa. He is Mr. Asithandile Gumisa. Babes, Babalwa Mabiza Kogoza, please come forward. Miss J.D. Nzeleni, come forward. Miss Zianda Ntola, come forward. Our bulldozer, LT, Mr. Lutando Nlezi, please come forward. Thank you. I am now calling my colleague and friend, Ms. Shabazz Nadeem. Thank you.
Our first graduate from Bellville in the Western Cape is Asake Somana. Diego Dutoy. Jade Casey Freisenberg. Olivia Hinckley. Guguletu Jack. Sandiso Nyonso. Sibulele Oyo. Jonte Williams. And our final graduate for the class of 2025, Ashley Weingard. Thank you.
I apologize, I was about to say, I'd like to invite our dignitaries to please take a seat. Thank you so much for the smooth conferral of certificates. We really appreciate that. I will now call upon Ms. Tsiedi Modise to do the vote of thanks and closing remarks. Mr. Adams did say that it seems like I'm going to be a very strict program director because we are way ahead of time. So, Ms. Modise, take your time. Thank you.
Thank you for the director. I have a 34-page speech just in case, so I will cover the time. And recognizing the Minister, Deputy Minister, NDPP, and Deputy National Director, we do appreciate your being here. We have been talking about the revised program that we did from last year, Minister and Deputy Minister. And this is in response to the issues that we got from the parliamentarians saying that they are not sure what we're training on. So that's when we did this outcome-based program, so we can let you tell your colleagues that we have listened, we have heard, we have delivered. It is really an honor for me to deliver the closing remarks on this significant day. Significant, more importantly, because of all this group that is sitting in the back that has been receiving the certificates. I have said to you, those that I was able to meet up with you, that unfortunately you ran away from your mother at home, you got another mother here at work. And that is still the case. And I'm not dumping you today, I will continue mothering you. We have spoken about the future, going into the future and what needs to happen. and the mentorship that is available to you. The minister has spoken about the specialized careers that is available in the NPA, and it was deliberate that we said to you, indicate which way you want to go, so that we can then now, from Monday, work on your career path and prepare you for all these things that the minister was talking about. But also, I'm very proud of you. As I said, I'm your mother here at work, and I'm standing on behalf of your mothers who could not be here because we can only accommodate you, and saying, I'm very proud of you. I know the journey was not easy, it was difficult. I've always reminded you that you should remember that first day when you came for exams and the number of people that were there for the exams. And here you are. I mean, in one venue last year, we were at Justice College, I think, with you, and we were occupying the whole of Justice College. And today we can fit you in half of the auditorium of the NPA. That is a significance of the difficulties and what you have put into. And not only to you, but your families and your parents who have invested in you, and they've been looking forward to this day when they can say, my child is now a prosecutor at the NPA and has gone through this. And congratulations. I am, as I said, very proud of you. We have had messages from our leadership. Advocate Nzinyati reminded us of the Declaration of Hope by Martin Luther King. And this is a fulfillment of your hope, not only for you, but for your families as well. Advocate Rangaka reminded you of the perseverance. It was not easy, and we recognize that. The perseverance that Toyando, for instance, is an example that was mentioned. And Minister, and Deputy Minister, we are very much aware of your support, and I have said to the tutors and to the chief that you are very much supportive of our program. We know that we're not standing alone, despite the difficulty that we may be having at Toyando and any other place that we are facing. And we are standing here hoping that you will also assist us in addressing some of those difficulties. Difficult as it was from Toyando, we always get the best from Toyando, and we acknowledge the difficulty in which you're working, but yet you put in everything that you have. There was also, Deputy Minister, we knew that you would remind us of the preamble, and we make space for you to do that. We also, one of the key components that I want to address you on of being a prosecutor is not only about mastering the law. We have heard from lawyers the whole morning, and that's why I come at the end to, it's not a lawyer, but to also remind you that we not only require you to master the law, but you also require you to master yourself and to master your profession. Also, to stand and know that you are not alone, that we are here. I'm always here because part of what I have to do is to support you. You should never get to a point where it is so difficult for you that you feel like you need your way out. We are here, we can always make a plan, we can always find a way in instead of a way out. And please be reminded that it's not the end, this is just the beginning. We also, in the program, it required your patience. But also, it requires your patience as a prosecutor going forward. Because pursuing the truth is not an easy path. And as the minister has referred to all the commissions that are going on, which has put us in the spotlight. And we have seen how not pursuing the truth put you in trouble. I always say to the people that I work with, whatever you do, make sure that you have an answer when you go to the Madanga Commission or the Zongo Commission or whatever commission that may come up. Be ready with an answer that you can recall. These things of people not remembering things when they get to the commission is because they did not do the work in the manner that they're supposed to do. And they did not follow the law. Because if you follow the law, you will not forget what you did because you know what the law says. Also, as you begin this journey, be mindful that integrity is everything. It is the bedrock, the anchor that must anchor you in everything that you do, in every decision that you take. That you stand upon your integrity and don't allow nobody, it doesn't matter who the person is, Nobody should get you to compromise your integrity. Your ethical standards should be the driving force behind every decision that you take. Also, remember your purpose, that every docket, behind every docket that you receive, that you deal with, there is a life, there is an individual. Our previous NDPP liked to tell the story that there was this man who was at you people from Cape Town, next to the sea, what do you call it? On the beach. On the beach, he was busy putting out the fish that were put out by the water, taking one and putting it back. And somebody says, but now the sea was so violent the previous night, and that's why there's so many of them outside. And if you keep on picking one and putting it back to the water, what difference are you making? And the person says, it makes all the difference to that one fish that I picked. And let us remember that whatever we do, it makes all the difference to that one life. And that one life would require you that, as we always say, we do not seek conviction at all costs. We seek justice at all costs. So as you speak to that one life, as you speak to that victim, you need to speak to them and make them understand, even if you did not get a conviction, let them be convinced that justice was served, even without a conviction. Today, not only do we honor your success, but also we look into your potential into the future. That it's not the end. That you have come here, and I'm glad that one of I think it's from Tata Minister, we've got our youngest, he's about 22. I can't see her now. And we do this because we want to say, you have a long future ahead of you. If you start at 22, you have all the time to be the next NDPP. Isn't it? And I've said to you, one of my saddest moments, those that I think I was at Madadeni, I said one of my saddest moments is when I have to sign a retirement of a district court prosecutor. That saddens me. You can't come in here at the age of 22 and retire as a district court prosecutor. Let's not do that to each other. Okay. One of the things that we keep on repeating in the NPA is that let's serve with humility, because we are serving the people of this country. Arrogance has no place in service. We have chosen to be civil servants. Let us serve, and let's remove any trace of arrogance that we may have. Let's serve with respect, but let's remain humble in everything, irrespective of our achievements. In conclusion, I'm saying to you, we have been with you for 12 years, 12 months, sorry. That's how much I have been invested in you, that it feels like 12 years. We have been with you for 12 months, and this was just a preparation for what needs to be done. So there is a whole program that we need to work on so that your career progresses. We need to work on your career path. We need to go into the future. We need to be able to respond to the capability review that the minister referred to. That we cannot get to a point where we cannot answer the question, do we have the capacity to deal with specialized crimes? Particularly in this time where we're struggling with organized crime and complex corruption and commercial crimes, but also struggling with sexual violence. We need to be able to respond to that, and let us prepare our way going into the future. Let me conclude also by quoting, as a lot have quoted, the Nobel laureate, Ole Sionka, said, "Justice is the first condition of humanity. It is people injustice that we deal with." This words speak directly to our vocation as prosecutors. They remind you that justice is not an abstract concept. It is a foundation of a humane society. Your work will often require courage, impartiality, and discipline. But above all, it will require steadfast commitment to ensuring that justice remains accessible, credible, and fair to all, and fair to the people of this country, because that's a call that we have answered to say that we want to serve the people of this country. And with that, thank you very much. Yes, I was not going to be 38 pages. I never do that to you. Thank you, Ms. Modise. I'll see Lena here. You know, when you say take your time, best believe she will take her time. Thank you very much for those wise words. They're much appreciated. We have, I want to say sadly, because it's the end of my career as a program director, reached the end of our ceremony. And I would like to say to the Minister, to the Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, as well as the Deputy Minister, the NDPP, Acting Deputy NDPP, that, and to the senior management of the NPA, the senior management of justice, and all other esteemed guests, and that is inclusive of you, our now fully fledged district court prosecutors. Your presence has added much significance to this celebration. It would not have been what it turned out to be if you did not respect the ceremony. I also want to say thank you for respecting the ceremony by looking your best. You were looking good. Those who are supposed to be beautiful were beautiful. Those who are supposed to be handsome were handsome. And thank you for respecting my position in this podium. Also, just as an announcement, we are a bit early. It's not yet 12 o'clock. I believe the minister has requested a photo outside, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, she is. She did say she's happy today. She doesn't know why. Minister, it's because you are amongst us. So what is going to happen now is that we will stand up as a sign of respect to allow the dignitaries on stage to exit. My apologies. There is a suggestion now to avoid a bit of chaos that we kindly request the dignitaries to take the seats in front so that the photographer can be here and take a photo from this position. I hope it does not inconvenience anyone. We do not mean to disrespect anyone. Can we then move in that fashion? Kindly, please.
Everyone else kindly remain seated while the dignitaries and the senior managers leave the venue. From here on, ushers are going to now assist. Please, ushers, the chiefs are still here. Huh? They got? Oh, they might have received. Where's Pin? Thank you so much. There, I was giving you the platform. Advocate Pillay.